Hi guys, welcome to the channel. My name's Anthony Cummins. I'm a historical researcher and author. Please enjoy the video.
Now I took two DNA tests, and I got two different results. Okay, so in this video I want to talk about that, but before that, all my videos are done to support my work, which is this one is the newest one, How to Be a Modern Samurai, 10 Steps to Finding Your Power and Achieving Success. So please, if you want to support me, get a copy of that. Right, okay, I got two sections of DNA results. One of them was from Ancestry.com and one of them was from MyHeritage. Now, they are both up to date. I took one a couple of years ago and I took one recently, but the research, I checked both of them very recently and they're always updating them and the percentages change slightly, but do get there. So I'm going to read to you the percentages. Are you ready? So basically, for the MyHeritage one, you have 55.6%. Now, I've put Celtic, but it's actually Irish, Welsh, Scots. 41.4% Scandinavian and 3% Italiano. Hey Mambo. Then for the Ancestry one, we've got 45%, actually it specifically says Ireland, so Celtic Irish, and then 48% English, 5% Swedish, and 2% Germanic Europe. So, hold on. How can I be English in one and not English in the other one? Be Jesus. So I have no idea about DNA whatsoever. The only thing I know about blood is vampires love it, and I love vampires. And if you take someone's head off, blood spurts out of it. You know, DNA. That's about as far as my DNA knowledge goes. So basically, I've had to think about this, and there's only one thing I can understand. But I'm asking you guys what you think below. Can you tell me if I'm correct, or tell me if you know anything else? Keep it simple. I've got a simple brain. So keep your haplogroups to yourself. Right. Okay. My opinion as to why this is different is because of time. So as far as I'm aware, if we do a DNA test and you take your sample from a collection from 10 years ago, nobody would know who was English or not because everybody's mixed in that much. And American, well, you wouldn't get American DNA, but you'd get English DNA, like that. So the next step is if you go back 500 years, then you're definitely into the medieval England, a little bit of movement, but most people are English. So you can say, well, these people are English. If you go back 1,000 years, the movement's different. And if you go back, say, so 60,000 years, technically everybody's African. So we're all out of Africa, the cradle of civilization. But if you go back 250,000 years ago, then technically none of us are human. None of us are Homo sapiens sapiens. We are Homo erectus, or no, it's not Homo erectus, then that's about 1 million or 3 or 4 million years ago. But about 250,000 years ago, there's a different human. And if you go back even further, we're all fish or apes, or if you go back to the beginning, we're all plankton feeding round thingy. So what I think of as DNA is wherever you set your marker score is where you're from. So I'm not a fish because I've now, lost the gills, so we're not setting the marker at fish. I'm not African because I've lost the blackness, so I am no longer 60,000 to 100,000 years ago African. So I asked the companies which time. So hold on. So if I am correct on that, it depends on the time bracket. It depends on what you are. Then I asked the companies what are the time brackets. Now I found the first answer to Ancestry on their website. They say a few hundred years, no more than 1,000. And I specifically emailed MyHeritage, and they did come back to me very kindly, and they said up to 2,000 years ago. So this is where I think the difference is. The Ancestry one is 1,000 years, or no, not even that, up to 1,000 years, so a few hundred years. So within, let's call it 500 years. And the MyHeritage one is up to 2,000 years. So one of them, you can get rid of one section. So for example, they do say there may be a variation of say 6 or 7%. I've seen that on their websites. So you might be 50% something, but actually 55 or 45. So here I've got a 10% variation on Celtic. Now one of them just says Irish, Welsh, Scottish, because 2,000 years ago, what was the difference between Irish, Welsh and Scottish? Nobody knows, because there was, the Scots moved, the Irish moved into Scotland to get rid of the Picts. So 2,000 years ago, The Scottish were not Scots. Also, that doesn't include the Norman conquest, when the royal families took over and the aristocrats took over Scotland and all of that, and the English history. So we've got all that to deal with. So that's where I think the difference is. However, we've got roughly 50% Irish, because I can say it's Irish and not the rest of it. In the Ancestry one, it actually says where most of my ancestors are from Munster in Ireland. Again, 2,000 years ago, that might have been totally different. That's why they've just said Celtic. They didn't use the word Celtic, but they said Irish, Scottish, or Welsh. You're from there. So without doubt, I have what appears to be approximately 50%, most likely Irish DNA, or wherever the Irish came from. But the Irish are from Spain. So if you went back further, say 3,000 or 5,000 years ago, it might say Spanish, but it's got up to 2,000 years ago, and we know that the Spanish had already got to Ireland by that point and created the Irish people. That's why the Irish people had browner skin originally, and well, we all did, didn't we? But it started getting lighter and lighter, and that's why they're mini people with black hair. So they're what they were, Spanish descendants, but I'm only joking. So basically, 50% we can explain why they're the same is Irish. So I'm probably Irish background. So that fits in with my family history, because my nan spoke like Irish woman. Be Jesus, Anthony, be Jesus. Oh, Johnny. That's how she used to talk. No joke. Then the other side is the puzzle. So one of them says I'm 40-ish% English. So let's have a look at that. 48% English. But the other one says I'm 41% Scandinavian and 0 English. So how do we get that right? So basically, the way I think this is explained is the simple fact that if you go back with Ancestry 500 years, the Vikings have long been here and basically integrated with our culture, and we know there's different charts on the amount of Viking DNA there is left, but it says I am 0% English, i.e. Anglo-Saxon. So does that mean then that because the DNA is up to 2,000 years ago, which goes to Scandinavia before the Vikings came. Vikings started coming over to Lindisfarne in 700 and whatever, so 8th century, and then they start really coming in, and then they start heavily populating the north of England. I'm a northerner. I was born a northerner anyway. So that means we've got Viking DNA and not Anglo-Saxon DNA. So this is where it puzzles me. I can understand the Celtic-Irish stuff. I am half Celtic-Irish, and maybe a mixture of those as the populations moved about. But for the whole, my family comes from Munster. Okie dokie there for 50%. The other 50%, my mother's side, is one of them says Anglo-Saxon or English, and the other one says Scandinavian. So the question is do I have 0 Anglo-Saxon blood in me? And 100% of that side, or most of that side, is actually Scandinavian. And so that's the big issue, because what is English depends on how you define English. After the Vikings, English was actually a mixture of Scandinavian and Anglo-Saxon. Before the Viking raids, it was Anglo-Saxon. And Anglo-Saxon is a term to mean all Germanic tribes that came across, including, of course, the original Celtic people, which is in that, it's already there. We've discussed it. 50% Celtic, because remember, everybody misunderstands this. Like, even the Welsh, the Scottish, the Irish, like, we're Celtic and you guys are English. Well, actually, English people are made up of Anglo-Saxons, Scandinavians, but also the original Celtic peoples who moved into Wales. They're not from Wales. The original Welsh were actually from England, and the Anglo-Saxons came out and called them the Welsh, which means foreign people in Old English. So as far as I'm aware, tell me if I'm wrong, but so basically the Welsh means foreign people because they were foreign, they were not German, and the Germans come along and went, get into that little elbow of Wales. There's Wales, which is where I live now, by the way, guys. So anyway, back to my DNA. I know you're all very interested. So the last one, of course, is Swedish and German. That is absolutely, from within 500 years, Sweden and German, that's there. But the other one is Italian. Of course, this automatically shoots to probably 3% of the Romans. So that's my explanation as to why the DNA is different. So it means that if I go back 2,000 years, then I am 3% Roman citizen, if you like, or Roman. Some Romans nailed a local. I've got 41.5%. We're going to say Viking now. A lot of people don't like the term Viking, but it is a real term. And it's basically anybody who went to raid, pillage, trade, or communicate outside on ships. They went and did their stuff. Going a Viking, going off, doing your trading, pillaging, roaming. So it's not a type of people. It's a task that was done, but it's clearly a word that is used to mean those people who came from Scandinavia and went all over the world, in whichever way they did it. So the term Viking is perfectly okay here. So, so does that mean if you break my DNA down, I'm predominantly Irish with Vikingness in it and a little bit of an overshoot of what's it called? The Roman Empire. But from 500 years ago, I'm predominantly Irish, which is the same, and then English, because by that point the English and the Viking have mixed in. The Italian has gone for some reason. I don't know why that's not. Why would the 3% Italian not be there? Even if you go back because if you're only going back 500 years, that DNA has been associated with being English now. And then, of course, Sweden, which is understandable because they both say Scandinavia. So, guys, what do you think to that? Can you help me understand that? Do you think I'm correct? So does that mean we have two sets of results totally different, well, 50% different, and that means there's a problem with DNA testing and that they're fake? Or is my explanation a good example of why we get the different results? So does that mean I'm an Irishman Viking? Yes. Or I'm an Anglo-Saxon, Anglo-Irish dude? Let me know, guys. Let me know. What do you think? Help me out on this, because that's put a spanner in my understanding of my own heritage. And I don't mind family history. I quite like it, but family history can be misleading because there's lies, misunderstandings, cheats. But DNA, I assumed, doesn't lie, but it can give you different results, which has now upset the apple cart, basically, for want of a better term. Right, guys, don't forget, if you want to follow me, please subscribe. And if you like history and samurai, Asian history especially, then do get yourself this How to Be a Modern Samurai and follow me. See you later, guys.